Many thanks for staying with us on World Now. Well, let's now bring you some more reports. U.S. President Donald Trump has signed an order to strip back the government-funded news organization, The Voice of America, accusing it of being anti-Trump and radical. A White House statement says the order would ensure taxpayers are no longer on the hook for what was described as radical propaganda. The Voice of America was set up during World War II to counter Nazi propaganda. It says it currently reaches hundreds of millions of people globally every week. Director of the organization, Mike Abramowitz, says he and virtually his entire staff of 1,300 have been put on paid leave. Mr. Abramowitz says the order keeps the Voice of America from being able to carry out its vital mission at a time countries like Iran, China, and Russia are putting billions of dollars into creating narratives to allegedly discredit the United States. To discuss this shutdown with me is media development expert and founder, Clevaro Communications, Aaron Leonard. Good to have you join us on World Now, and a very happy birthday to you, Mr. Leonard.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right, so I understand we had to take you off, some really special plan by your daughter, but I believe you'll get back to that after this interview. So let's start off immediately. Okay, what was your initial reaction when you heard this news about shutting down the Voice of America?
It's sad. Anything that has to do with shutting down any media organization is sad. It's the worst thing that could happen. It's the worst decision any government could take anywhere, irrespective of what that media organization is doing, because it's just like fighting against free speech. And once that is done, every other right of anybody can be trampled upon. This is not military era like we saw during the military days in Nigeria, where stations are being shut down and all that. And so it's a sad one. It's not something that a country like the United States, which over the years has been pushing for free speech and, democracy and freedom, should do. And also, if you check why the Voice of America was set up, it's also a sad one. In fact, it's just like the US shooting itself. I don't understand.
This raises a lot of questions. It talks about the role of the media in tackling different forms of information disorder, whether it's misinformation, disinformation, or even malinformation. But what do you propose? Because it does appear that when the funding is coming from a particular end and that sponsor is no longer interested in the activities of the organization, then nothing can happen. What formula can be adopted by media organizations to ensure they can sustain their jobs?
Well, once it's owned by the government and the government says they are no more interested, there's nothing really they can do. So it's individuals, like if you read most of the reports online of the staff and even the head of the organization speaking, you see they were speaking as themselves. So as a media person, irrespective of what anybody does, a proper media person will still go out. You could use social media and do what you have to do. But once an organization is owned by the government, there's nothing anybody could do. In Nigeria, we have our own Voice of Nigeria here. It's the same thing. And when you look at why I'm saying it's like America shooting itself, when you look at why the Voice of America was set up, like you mentioned, it's to counter, narratives put up by other countries that are against the US. In Nigeria, if you go check the Voice of Nigeria, why it's set up and what it does, you'll see things like promoting the culture of Nigeria, the ideals of Nigeria, enhancing unity of Nigerians, reaching Nigerians in diaspora. But for organizations like the Voice of America, the BBC, France 24, and so on, it's mainly to push their own foreign agenda and to counter whatever, let me say, enemy countries have to say against them. In the years in the communist years, those are the organizations used to pass information to countries like Russia, China, North Korea, and all that. So this.
I hear you, Mr. Leonard. So you have repeatedly mentioned that this is a case of America shooting itself in the leg, but we hear
proper information.
Okay, yeah. If you can hear me, you've repeatedly mentioned that this is a case of America shooting itself in the leg, but the White House has said that this is happening because VOA is considered as anti-Trump and radical. Do you think there's anything that could have been done differently, to have prevented this or to have better managed the situation?
You see, the thing is that the previous government, any state-owned organization, just like our own state-owned organizations in Nigeria, their primary purpose is to promote the activities of government, is to promote what the government says. So probably the Voice of America over the past couple of years has been promoting what the Democrats want, what President Biden, Obama, and so on, what they want. So they might not have been promoting things that Donald Trump wants to hear. So what he can do is he has appointed his own person there, so just do a restructuring and make them, see, by default, they will start promoting Trump's agenda. That's why they are set up. But you see, the thing is that a true media organization, irrespective of whoever owns it, would not put out disinformation. And that is it. Would not put out sensationalism. So if by any means the Voice of America has been too Democrat, let me put it like that, well, then that should be corrected.
Right,
I think what organizations should do is stick to what you're for. Be America, be Nigeria, be that country, and not necessarily being what party or individual is in power.
All right, Mr. Leonard, media development expert and founder, Clevaro Communications. Aaron Leonard, thank you again for your time on World Now, and a very happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much. God bless.